It's time for our Seen and Unseen segment where we explore the cultural stories of the day. And for that, we turn to Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. All right, Raymond, I think it feels like we struck a nerve with Joy and the gang over at MSNBC.
Yeah, I think we did, Laura. This is how they reacted to the idea that black voters might be giving Trump a second look.
Namely, that Trump being an accused felon has broadened his appeal with black voters.
As one black lady I spoke with earlier today here in New Orleans said, Trump's a gangster. And that means he has cred among a new block of voters that perhaps have never given him a serious look, and now they're looking again.
Y'all don't really know any black people, do you? None, right? None, I figured.
No, Joy. I guess those were imaginary black guests you had on the show the other night, Laura. And I suppose I don't know any black people in New Orleans, my home, a majority black city, and I never go into that city to the communities most affected by D.C. policies and actually talk to the people that most networks ignore. No, Joy, I've never done any of that, I guess.
And I guess all those like polls or phantom polls that show Trump has an increasing percentage of the black vote. That's all made up? I guess. Oh, they don't like that. They're criticizing the Fox poll. I get it. But Raymond, the thing is, we have to all remember.
It's not just. Hold on. It's not just the Fox poll. There are others. Axios, Reuters. They're all saying the same thing.
Well, we have to remind everyone that you cannot be authentically African American in the eyes of some on the left if you don't subscribe to their views on a variety of issues. That's why they never thought Clarence Thomas was authentically black. Tom Sowell was never black. Walter Williams, any of the people that we featured on our show, they're not real. They're fake, or they use phrases that are horrible like Uncle Tom. So that's what they think. They're not actually authentic. So I take issue with that.
Well, Democrats are apparently seeing the same polls that everybody thinks is make-believe, and I think they're worried, Laura. It's so bad. Al Sharpton is trying to revive Trump's urging the death penalty for the Central Park Five in the 1990s.
Let them come and tell the rappers and others that are being seduced by Trump what he did in his hometown to innocent black men.
Now, wait a minute. Rappers are being seduced by Trump. He better watch that. Joy Reid's liable to tell him he doesn't know any black people. But the interesting thing here is, of all the people trying to recall the early 90s and the late 80s, Laura, Al Sharpton should be the last one talking about race and that period. I have two words for him. Tawana Brawley.
Tawana Brawley.
Remember that hoax?
Oh, yeah. Well, and we know what they do to black Americans who get in their way. And that's to the next point that you were going to raise.
Yeah, well, this is the other problem that the Democrats have, and it's an electoral one. Cornel West. This is West commenting on Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party. Listen to this.
They are dominated by their corporate wing. They're dominated by the militarists when it comes to foreign policy, and that he and AOC and the others are going to be, in a certain sense, window dressing. The Democratic Party is beyond redemption at this point.
Raymond, I love how Joe and Kamala, their answer to all this with what, a new outreach to the black community, and it consists of inviting a few elites to the White House for a photo op and a listening session.
Kamala and I wanted to convene this incredible group of civil rights leaders for a simple reason: to thank them and to tell them what they tell us. We know we got a lot more work to do.
There is an antidote to this, I am sure of it. It will be rooted in our courage, like those who 60 years ago marched and stood. There is an opportunity in front of us.
Laura, do you think this moves the needle one iota in the community itself? See, I think raising grocery prices, rising gas prices, the crime that members of the black community are enduring every day, that's what they see and experience. And this stuff, a bunch of elites sitting around the table with Biden with this, they have to do this heavy editing job because nobody made a coherent sentence that they can play in toto. I doubt if this really moves the needle with black America, but we'll see. We'll see very shortly.
I mean, I'm not sure if nobody made a coherent statement. I'm betting that Biden did not make a coherent statement. I'm happy to hear from anybody on any of these subjects, but don't claim to have the market cornered on what people care about, because I think a lot of people are worried about this economy, and that's why they want to whip up, racial fears and tensions. Racism is horrific, but thank goodness it's not at the core of everything we are in our country anymore.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned it, and the real problem here is the mental state of the president himself. And like Mitch McConnell, who you had at the top of the show, all voters have grave concerns about Biden's competency, who apparently now thinks he's the president of Canada.
Think about that. A drug company that makes a drug here in America, if it's sold in Chicago, you can buy the same drug in Toronto or Paris cheaper than you can buy it in Toronto.
Why is he worried about the price of drugs in Toronto, Laura? None of this makes any sense. I listened to this about 4 times. Nowhere did it make sense.
I think he's
aghast.
He's probably talking about having the Medicare most favored nation drug pricing that other countries get that we don't get. But I'm looking at his squinting eyes, and he seems he seems in pain there, Raymond, almost as much as we were. Yeah, he said here in Chicago. He kind of corrected it. He tried to correct it. I mean, we're just so used to the mumblings and rumblings at this point. And Raymond, it's great to see you tonight. Thank you so much, and I'm glad you're authentically you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.